The Chicago Bears take on the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota at 12 p.m. Central this Sunday. Can the Bears extend their winning streak to 3 games and win their first divisional game under Ben Johnson? Watch this video to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears pregame prediction video, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. And actually, for this game, I'm going to be overseas in Sweden. So still looking for a place to watch the game there. If any bars are hosting it somehow, if you guys know of any, let me know in the comments below. I'll probably have to watch on some stream, bootleg stream, but regardless, I will be watching the game. I will be having a post-game reaction out for you guys because the game starts like 7 o'clock Sweden time, I'm pretty sure, somewhere around there. So it's basically going to be Sunday Night Football for me, but cannot wait to watch this game even from Stockholm, Sweden. It's going to be a very fun game to watch. I've been waiting for this game ever since week 1, right? We choked that game away against JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. We should have won that game being at home, but our offense sputtered in that game. Our defense collapsed at the end. So now the Bears have a chance for revenge on the road against a pretty decent Vikings team, right? If you look at the Vikings right now, their record is mediocre, but with JJ McCarthy, they beat the Lions, they lost to the Ravens recently, and JJ's been super up and down, but it's a team that has a good amount of talent on it, a really good coaching staff, so you know it's going to be a tough test regardless. And right now is when the tough test really begins for the Chicago Bears. We've had a bunch of easier games in the last couple weeks or so, but now it's going to be a stretch of really difficult games against the Vikings, against the Steelers, against the Eagles, against the Packers. So this next stretch of games is going to really tell you guys what the 2025 Chicago Bears are, because right now we are in a playoff spot. We are currently in the number 6 seed in the NFC, but we have a bunch of divisional games coming up, a bunch of tough games against tough opponents. So we're really going to be tested, and we're going to see if this Chicago Bears team is good enough to make the playoffs here in the next month or so. And right now, sitting at 6-3, I believe the Bears would have to win 4 games to make the playoffs. At 10-7, you have a great chance of making the playoffs. So with 8 games remaining, we have to go 4-4 throughout the rest of the season to probably make the playoffs. And I think it is doable if we could take care of business against teams we should beat, like the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Vikings are favorites in this game according to Vegas, which I understand, right? The Vikings, they beat the Lions a couple weeks ago. They're going to be at home, and they already beat the Bears, so I get why they are favorites, especially being at home. But with how the Chicago Bears have been playing on offense, with how Caleb has been playing as of late, you would hope the Bears could sneak this one through on the road and, you know, hopefully go to 7-3 on the season. But now, before I continue with the video, for those of my subscribers out there that are blue-collar workers that are working maybe in construction sites, maybe in the fields, or whatever you're out there doing, you're getting your hands and feet dirty and gritty. If you guys want the best workwear, I'd highly recommend using Brunt Workwear, the sponsor of today's video. And Brunt Workwear actually sent me a couple boots. They sent me this pair of Marin boots, which I hadn't worn any boots like this in my life before, but I've worn these a few times, guys, and they are really comfortable. You don't have to wait a long time to break them in. They're super comfortable right out the box, and not only are they comfortable, they're built to perform. Whether you need waterproof, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, or lace-up, they've got options that can handle whatever job site you're working into. And even if you're not a blue-collar worker, guys, like, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I do accounting for my full-time job, but I'm outside, you know, obviously still walking around, and these are super comfortable to walk in, especially when it's super muddy outside. And for a limited time, guys, my listeners actually get $10 off Brunt when you use code DWC at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use code DWC, and you're good to go. Let's break down the matchup, guys, talking about both sides of the ball. First, for the Minnesota Vikings, talking about the Vikings offense, and they rank number 21 in points scored per game, number 24 in yards gained per game, number 22 passing attack, and number 24 run game. And the big X factor in this game, again, is going to be quarterback JJ McCarthy, because so far I don't know what to make of JJ McCarthy. He's barely played any games. He missed the majority of the season before the last couple of games with that injury. Carson Wentz stepped in, but JJ McCarthy is back, and he's been really up and down, guys. Like, he's showed some flashes of really high-level quarterbacking late in that fourth quarter against Chicago Bears. He was money in that fourth quarter against the Lions. He made some big-time plays against a really good Lions team. You know, last week against the Ravens, he had some bad mistakes. And if you look at his stats, He has 692 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's taken 15 sacks, passer rating of 65.8. So far the numbers really don't look that good, and that's because he's made a handful of really bad mistakes, and he's gotten sacked a lot. He's not been the most optimal decision maker at this point in time, but he is super young. He does have some potential still, and playing with a strong supporting cast, if you look at the receivers, he could still do some damage against the Chicago Bears defense. And you guys know, if you've been going on Twitter recently, the whole 9 thing, he calls himself 9. He gets into that 9 alter ego mentality, whatever the fuck that is. Okay, so he's kind of a psychopath in some ways, and hopefully the Bears can humble him a little bit. But he beat us in the last game, and he came back on us. So I can't really talk shit until we beat this guy. Hopefully we can beat JJ McCarthy, because right now he is one of the bigger wild cards in this matchup. If you look at the rest of the Vikings offense, obviously one of the bigger talking points is how good their top 2 receivers are. They got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Justin Jefferson has 686 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Addison has 392 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. In the last matchup, the Bears did not have to face off against Jordan Addison, and it's going to be a tough matchup, guys. We don't have the cornerback talent to stop either of these guys. If we had Jalen Johnson, if we had Kyler Gordon, I'd be feeling a lot better entering this game. But with Nashawn Wright and Tyreek Stevenson on these guys, I just don't see how we're going to completely contain these guys. We just have to hope we get pressure on JJ McCarthy and force him into making some inaccurate throws, because these 2 guys will be open during this game. And lastly, with the Vikings offense, I do want to talk about their interior offensive line, because their interior O-line has been really bad the entire season. If you look at their center play, their guard play, all of it has been horrible. There's been a lot of pressure allowed on the inside of this Vikings offensive line. So that is an area for Javon Dexter, for Andrew Billings, for Grady Jarrett to really attack this Vikings offense, because if the Bears can get that interior pressure, we can make JJ McCarthy pretty uncomfortable, force him to leave the pocket, force him into making some awkward throws that turn into interceptions. So hopefully the Bears defense can do that. But going to the Vikings defense, then they rank number 18 in points allowed per game, number 12 in yards allowed per game, number 9 pass defense, number 22 run defense. And a big storyline for this game is that Jonathan Greenard could be out for this game. He suffered a pretty bad shoulder injury, so he should be out for this game according to reports, which that would be a big break for the Chicago Bears, because right now the Bears don't have the best left tackle play, I would say. I mean, Theo Benedict has been up and down. He's been a really good run blocker, but in pass protection, he's left a lot to be desired. So not having to go up against one of the Vikings' best pass rushers, that is going to definitely help out the Chicago Bears offensive line. And at this point, we know what the Vikings defense is. We faced Brian Flores' defenses a lot of times over the past couple of years, and Brian Flores, he's a super aggressive defensive coordinator. He's going to be calling a lot of blitzes, a lot of stunts. He's going to throw a lot Caleb Williams' way, and you just hope that Caleb can be quick enough to beat the blitz. Recently, he's been a lot better against pressure. Even when the blitz is coming, he's been able to see the pressure and get the ball away. He's not taking a shit ton of sacks like he did last year. So, even though Brian Flores is going to be aggressive, he's going to be using a lot of disguised simulated pressures to get Caleb rattled, but hopefully Caleb can rise above that and still have a pretty good game. In the last matchup, Caleb started out that game on fire. He scored that touchdown super easily, but after that opening drive, the Bears could not do shit on offense until the very end of the game. So you hope for more consistency from the Bears offense, because in the last matchup, Brian Flores kind of figured out the Bears offense for the vast majority of the game. So it'll be interesting to see the chess match going on between Brian Flores and Ben Johnson in this matchup. Last thing with the Vikings defense, they are obviously a lot stronger against the pass than against the run. You can see that reflected in the numbers here. Teams decide to run the football more against them because they are weak against the run. Their linebackers have not really been doing well against the run. Now, in terms of pass coverage, they have been pretty good. The linebackers have been. They've been able to get pressure on the quarterback when opponents are passing the football, but this just really emphasizes again, the Bears need to run the football in this matchup because the Vikings are much worse against the run than they are against the pass. Switching over to the Bears, though, let's talk about their offense. First of all, they rank number 7 in points scored per game, number 3 in yards gained per game, number 11 passing offense, number 2 rushing offense. And recently, Caleb Williams has been having a very strong stretch of games. Over the past 2 games, he has 400 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 120 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown too. Caleb has been making a bunch of big-time throws. In the Giants game, he ripped balls over the middle. He got some really good throws on the run too that weren't caught. Okay, both DJ Moore and Zacchaeus dropped multiple passes, so his stat line could have been a lot better even in the last game, but he's been doing a lot of high-level quarterback stuff over the past 2 weeks. He's not taking very many sacks at all. In the last game, he spun out of so many would-be sacks, but got the ball out at the right time, and his accuracy has been a lot better in the last 2 games as well. So you hope that Caleb can keep this up against a better defense like the Minnesota Vikings have. The Bengals and the Giants did not really have good defenses. The Giants had a pretty good defensive line, but the Giants overall as a defense weren't that good entering that Bears game. Well, the Vikings defense, although it's not elite either this season, they have an elite defensive coordinator. They have some talent on this defense still. So it's going to be a big test for Caleb to see what he can do against a divisional opponent. One really positive story is that the Bears' offensive line has turned into one of the NFL's best over the last month or so. If you look at the right tackle, Darnell Wright, he's showing up on the NFL highlights every single week because of something crazy he's doing. In the last matchup, he had Brian Burns in hell. He got him down to the dirt multiple times in that game. If you look at our interior offensive line, Drew Dalman currently is ranked as one of the best centers in football. Joe Thuney has been fantastic the entire season. Jonah Jackson also has been playing really good football as of late. The only weakness on the Bears offensive line right now is at left tackle, which even Theo Benedict, even though he's not been very good in pass protection, he's been elite as a run blocker. Ever since he came in, the Bears run game has taken off, and hopefully Theo can get better as a pass protector. He's still super young and he was an undrafted guy, but even with him having deficiencies in pass protection, the Bears offensive line as a whole is really damn good. I mean, probably the best offensive line I've seen in many years here in Chicago, which is why we're scoring a shit ton of points. It's why Caleb is having so much more success. It's why Ben Johnson's able to run his offense the way he wants to run it, because he needs an offensive line that can be good enough to pound the rock, to give his quarterback time, and it's all coming together right now for the Chicago Bears offense. Again, the big test is if we can do it against a better opponent, and we'll see if the Bears can pass that test. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about with the Bears offense is that the Bears shared backfield right now is on fire. No matter who is at running back, they are succeeding. In the last game, DeAndre Swift came back. He had a couple really nice runs, and he had the majority of the carries in the last game. But before that, Kyle Monangai had 176 rushing yards against the Bengals, and he's been a fantastic 7th-round pick by Ryan Poles. So the 1-2 punch with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai has really turned into a very successful backfield, guys. I mean, Monangai brings a lot of the power, a lot of the vision, while Swift brings the speed, the acceleration, the pass catching ability. And I cannot tell you how satisfying it is to watch the Bears pound the football down the opponent's throat over and over and over again. Pause, but that's why the Bears have been winning a lot of these games. We're winning time of possession because we're just running the ball so effectively. Every carry is going for 5, 6, 7, 10 plus yards, and it's really helping the Bears beat a lot of teams, even with our own defense being so bad. Speaking about the Bears defense, talking about that side of the ball, the Bears defense ranks number 28 in points allowed per game, number 27 in yards allowed per game, number 26 pass defense, number 24 run defense. And yeah, it's not a good defense. It's not been a good defense the majority of the season, mostly because of injuries, I feel like. I mean, the Bears are missing Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon. They're not going to be back until the end of the season, probably. So it's been rough for the Bears on defense. But one bright spot recently has been CJ Gardner-Johnson. In the past 2 games since he was acquired, he has 3 sacks and 1 forced fumble. So CJ Gardner-Johnson's energy could be a big boost to this defense. I mean, even though they're still not really good in terms of pass coverage, in terms of really anything, at least CJ is making some big-time plays, some big-time splash plays a couple times per game. And, even getting 1 sack per game, I mean, that's going to be a huge boost to a Bears defense that just needs anything they can possibly get out of these guys. His energy has been infectious, too. I mean, CJ is a trash talker. He's a guy that you don't want to go up against, but you want to have a guy like that on your team, right? To talk the trash to the opponents, to keep the energy high on your own sidelines. And CJ has been that for the Chicago Bears. Another positive development has been Austin Booker. Ever since he came back, he's looked pretty good as a pass rusher. As a run defender, he's been pretty bad. That's one area where he can improve, but he's only 22 years old, and he has 6 pressures, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble in the couple of games he's played since he came back. So if Austin Booker can keep getting better and better, give the Bears a couple pressures per game, hopefully a sack every couple of games, I mean, he could be big for the Bears going down the stretch, because right now the Bears are just looking for anybody to make a splash play. We're not going to stop opposing offenses very often because we just don't have the cornerback talent. But if we can make a couple splash plays, get a couple sacks here and there, get a forced fumble, get a turnover, that is how the Bears defense could still be effective. With all that being said, let me get to my 3 keys to Bears victory. How can the Chicago Bears win this game on the road? And key number 1 is going to be to take the layups when they are there if you are Caleb Williams. Currently, the Bears offense relies a lot on explosive plays to get their offense going, but I guarantee you Brian Flores is going to limit those explosive plays. He's going to tell his defenders to, really ensure that Caleb has to take his dinks and his dunks instead of just getting chunk yardage. Now, Caleb still probably is going to get some chunk yardage because he's a very talented and special quarterback, and the Bears have such tremendous receiver talent, but Caleb is probably going to have to take some layups in this game, and if he has to go for that 4 or 5 yard pass instead of the bomb down the field, he's got to hit those passes accurately and consistently. In the last game against the Vikings, that was a problem, so hopefully Caleb has gotten better in that regard. Key number 2 is going to be to get J.J. McCarthy uncomfortable if you are the Bears defense. I want to see a lot of pressure thrown his way. You can't let J.J. just sit back there in the pocket and have time to process and deliver darts to all areas of the field, because J.J. McCarthy can be a pretty accurate quarterback if he has the time to throw the football. So, if the Bears can disrupt his passing lanes, if they can get pressure on the inside against a weak Vikings interior offensive line, hopefully we can make JJ throw a couple interceptions and get some turnovers that turn into touchdowns for the Chicago Bears offense. Finally, key number 3 is going to be to play a full 60 minutes of football. In the last matchup, the Bears lost against the Vikings because they did not play a full 60 minutes of football. They stopped playing midway through the first quarter. In this game, the Bears offense has to be a lot more consistent. You can't just score a touchdown the opening drive and not score again until the fourth quarter. Against a very good Vikings coaching staff, they're going to make you pay if you don't keep on scoring points. And on defense, the Bears defense needs to play a full 4 quarters of football as well. You can't allow 14 plus points in the fourth quarter to let the Vikings come back in this game. And finally, it's time for my score prediction. Who do I have win this matchup? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going on the road, beating the Vikings by a score of 27-24. Am I being a little bit biased with this pick? Yes, I am, because obviously I'm a Bears fan. If I think it's going to be a close game, I'm probably going to pick the Bears to edge out the other team if I do think it's going to be close, especially with how good Caleb has been in the fourth quarter. I think if the Bears can keep this game close, they will have a chance to win it at the very end. I don't think we're going to dominate or destroy the Vikings by any means. It's going to be a very close game because I just don't have faith in the Bears defense to stop these really talented Vikings pass catchers, right? The Bears offense is going to have to score a good amount of points in this game to keep up, because the Vikings offense will also score points. Now, is J.J. McCarthy going to make mistakes? Yes, I think he will, which is why I think the Bears win this game at the end. But it really could be anybody's game. This game could go either way. I respect both coaching staffs. I respect the Bears staff. I respect the Viking staff a lot as well. But hopefully we can tame number 9 and bring him back down to earth. As for my offensive MVP of this game, I'm going with Rome Odunze. I think Odunze gets 1 touchdown and 100 receiving yards in this game. As for my defense MVP, I'm going to be going with Gervon Dexter. I talked about how weak the Vikings interior offensive line was, so I think going up against those weak guards and centers, Gervon Dexter gets 2 sacks in this game and makes life tough on J.J. McCarthy. Leave your comments down below. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? I really hope the Bears can win this just so we can get our first divisional win under Ben Johnson and also prove to the rest of the NFL that we can beat other teams as well, not just bad football teams, because right now the narrative around the Chicago Bears is that we can only beat bad football teams. Well, here's your chance to beat at least a mediocre football team in the Vikings. I mean, this is a team that beat the Lions a couple weeks ago. So if you can get this win against the Vikings, move them down to 4-7 on the season, they're going to have a really tough chance to make the playoffs. They're probably not going to make the playoffs if the Bears can win this game. So Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, you have a chance to really maybe end the Viking season. So I hope they make the most out of this opportunity and win this game on the road. Leave your comments down below. I'll be back with a post-game video from Sweden on Sunday afternoon. As always, guys, bear down.